The joke map is a 5-step system which begins with topics and results in a series of setups. In the first step, you'll list some topics. Topics are a very interesting thing. Topics are something that you think is something wrong with the world, something that has a problem out there for you, things you want to talk about. Okay, now, we've got a topic. Cars. Now we're going to make an association list. I want all the things that you find associated with this, and this will make sense in a second. Okay, just yell out things now, in particular with cars. In other words, don't start going, air. Well, yeah, air is part of cars, you know, glass. Yeah, it's better if it's a windshield or windshield wipers or tickets. Things that are particular to cars are always better for an association list. Yell out some.
Brakes.
What was it?
Wheels.
Wheels, all right. That's kind of vague as it were, and coming real specific to cars.
Airbags.
What was it?
Airbags.
Airbags, there we got it. Airbags. Keep going.
Brakes.
Brakes.
Gas.
Gas.
Seatbelt lights.
Seat
And noises.
belts.
Mechanics.
No, mechanics.
Meters.
Salesmen. Salespersons. Yeah. What else?
Meters.
Think of around the world and not just cars and stuff. Things like tickets.
Insurance.
Very good. Insurance.
Status symbol.
Status.
Traffic.
Traffic. Now you guys are starting to get it. Bad traffic, traffic jams, sig alerts. Did everybody follow? Now, how big of a list can we get?
Big.
Nice. We can get a nice list. The next step is what's called a punch premise. Does everybody know what a premise is?
Is it
Okay.
like an idea?
Yes, it's an idea from which you write things. Yeah, a premise is an idea from which you write things. So a punch premise, what are we going to end up writing from a punch for a punch premise?
A punch.
Punches, that's right. Thank you. It's a premise, okay? Now, this punch premise, this is the crux of this particular, of the joke map. In the joke mine, it was figuring out the connector. If you could figure out it was easy to figure out the assumption, right? But if you figured out the connector, the rest of it kind of worked. You went, oh, the connector's this, what's another interpretation? A lot of you guys breezed through that. You understood it. The hard step for everybody is finding out what that connector is, okay? Now, for the map, it's writing the punch premise. If you write the punch premise correctly, the rest of this is easy. Here's the definition of a punch premise. It must be a smaller aspect or smaller detail with a negative opinion about it. It is not cars. Your punch premise subjects is going to be something on your list. I need to narrow this down. So, and then this has got to keep this simple. I want a smaller detail, smaller aspect with a negative opinion about it. Period. Nothing more. I want a negative opinion about it. Remember before we talked about negative opinions? We're right back to negative opinions again. So, pick some. Airbags are what?
Dangerous.
Are dangerous. Everybody follow?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Mechanics are
Jerks.
jerks. How about dishonest? You guys, I got 3 or 4. Are they dishonest?
Liars.
Liars? Okay, we're going to say dishonest. Mechanics are dishonest. Seat belts are what? Okay, that's a description of something. That's not an opinion.
Binding.
Binding? I want an opinion about it. They're binding. Binding is a description of what they are.
Seatbelts are.
Annoying. There we go. Does everybody follow?
Would uncomfortable be the?
That's a description of what they are. You know what? I would probably let you go with uncomfortable is fine. The reason is because in a moment I need something that's opposite of this. I need an opposite opinion about something. And in a moment that'll make total sense to you. Okay? Okay? So, airbags are dangerous. Mechanics are dishonest. Seat belts are annoying. Does everybody follow? By the way, this negative opinion is the statement of your routine. This is what you're trying to tell people. You're up there to tell them, oh, I think airbags are dangerous. I think mechanics are dishonest. I think seat belts are annoying. That's the point of this routine, this part of this routine. You're always making a statement based on a negative opinion. You're always taking a position. You must take a position, and in comedy, we take a negative position. The next thing is a setup premise. It is very simply the opposite opinion. So, airbags are what? That's right, exactly right. Mechanics are honest. Seat belts are?
Not annoying.
What's the opposite of annoying?
Calming?
Relaxing, comforting, relaxing, comforting. We've got the same subject with opposite opinions. We've got a negative and a positive opinion, and that's going to set up, that's going to push us toward what we're after here, which are opposite ideas for our setups and our punches. So, the next thing is, I'm going to pick one of these setups, and we're going to go through it. Okay, so we've got mechanics are honest. Now notice, remember, your topic is not your setup premise. It's a smaller thing. We're talking about mechanics. We're not talking about cars now. We're talking about mechanics. We're talking about some small, it needs to funnel down to more specifics. Okay, so a setup premise is an idea from which we write things. Do you remember? So from your setup premise, we're going to do what?
Write a setup.
We're going to write a series of setups. And these are very simply, they're examples of the setup premise. They're examples. Okay? This is not, the setup premise is not your setup. It's a premise. It's your premise. Okay? It's really important. Some people get really lost here. It's a premise. Okay, so our setup premise is mechanics are honest. Now, you may be thinking, well, I don't know any honest mechanics. I don't like mechanics. They're going to screw me over all the time. I think they're, not necessarily good people and stuff. So, you might have to, one, use your imagination, or two, reverse something that really did happen to you. So what I'm going to ask you to do is give me a series of setups, examples of mechanics being honest. They're examples of the setup premise in short statements. It's really, that's all a setup is a short statement about mechanics being honest. Give them to me.
I trust my mechanic.
Okay. I trust my mechanic. It can be that simple. There's a setup. What's another one? If your mechanics are honest.
My mechanic sits behind me in church.
Okay. My mechanic sits behind me at church.
I have a great mechanic.
Can we get a little bit? I have a little bit more than that.
Experience with
Give me a specific incident of example of. Give me that's a description of it. Can you give me an example of him being? Okay.
My mechanic only sells me what I need.
Okay. He only sells me what I need.
My mechanic saved me a lot of money.
He saves me a lot of money. Anything else?
My car runs as well as his does.
Yeah, like my car runs as well as his does. My car runs as well as his does. Does everybody follow? Mm-hmm. We're done. Now, does everybody understand what we're going to do next? We're going to take these setups and do what?
find a target, connector, and the reinterpretation.
We're going to put it into the joke mind. You're going to go, what are our assumptions? What's the target assumption? What's the connector, reinterpretation, and write a punch for it. It's the homework you did this last week. Only you started with a setup I gave you. Now you're going to start with a setup you wrote and do exactly the same thing.